starting the recording, and I'm handing it over to our president-elect, Jimmy.
No. Can everybody see the screen? Welcome to Online Presenters. This meeting will be recorded. The stills and excerpts from video may be used by the club in its public relations and social media outreach. Exceptions can be made upon members' requests to not have their video shown or their faces shown. Most videos is shared within the group as member education on their Facebook page. The purpose of our club, Online Presenters, is for learning skills for better webinars and online events. We want to thank Ring Central for providing us the sources for this website. Within Ring Central, there's Blip Team Messaging. They use a Zoom product for the video conference. And I'd like to mention that Ring Central is winning the cloud worldwide as far as communications. I think this is an old slide, but we're going to have another webinar contest. Well, no, this webinar contest next week. I was thinking this was an old one. So this is a reminder, we're having another webinar contest next week. So check the agendas and the website for that. And we advise you to use a headset or earbuds or noise canceling microphone. Keep your microphone muted when you're not speaking so we don't pick up stray noise. And reminder, you can also toggle your video on and off as you need to do something or you don't talk. And the controls are usually in the lower left side of your window. There's various video controls. You can do a group view with everybody on the screen or a main speaker view where just the speaker shows and a few other members show up along the side. And those controls are in your upper right-hand corner usually. Please watch the time if you're a speaker, whether you're doing a prepared speak or a report. Somebody is the timer and they'll be signaling, so be aware of who the timer is and make sure you can see who they are. Another tip could be use your own timing device to keep track of your time if you can't find the timer on the screen, such as a cell phone timer function. If you want to become a member, I don't know if we have any new members or guests tonight, but you can also tell other people that might want to join the club to, on our website, there's a join function that you can fill out to request that you want to join. We do advise members to visit twice. And on the second visit, they can give a Google Topics type 1 to 2 minute speech about why they want to join. Our typical requirements is to have at least 6 Toastmasters speeches completed, but we can make exceptions for people that have outside speaking experience. And now it's showtime, so let's get the meeting started. And I'm going to turn it back over, stop the sharing. And do we have an educational minute, Adrian?
Yes, we do. Our educational minute today is to remind the new officers of the district leadership training. 4 officers must attend in order for us to get 1 point. It's a very easy point for us to get to qualify for distinguished clubs. Remember, online clubs are not considered a part of a district. We're an undistrict, which is you. So please remember to take a picture of the sign-in sheet. When you go, sign your name in, take a photo picture of that you attended. You can even take a picture of the actual event in that workshop if you'd like. That's what we use to get our credit. It helps us if they forget to add us, since we're not in a district, to fight for those points and to get them. So it's very important to attend for your particular position. If you cannot attend, please let someone know so that we can guarantee at least 4 people will go for our club, because it's an easy point to get. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Bye.
Okay. Good evening. I'm your Toastmaster for this evening. Tonight, our meeting's theme is summertime. Summertime. We're right about summertime, although for many of us, it feels like it's midsummer. The heat index right here in the Washington area was 105 today. The word for the day is paragon. Paragon. Paragon is a model or pattern of excellence or a particular excellence. For instance, a paragon or virtue. It's also someone of exceptional merit. Just who is this paragon whose name is on everyone's lips? Paragon. Let's just start by introducing the roles this evening. We'll start out with the counter. Andy, would you tell us about your role?
The role of the odd counter is to listen carefully to everybody speaking to make sure that we identify bridge words, start overs, other improper utilizations of the Toastmaster speaking. I will report at the end of the meeting when called upon.
Thank you, Andy. Our next role is the timer. Lou Brown, would you tell us about your timing?
Of course, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters and guests. As timer, I will be keeping track of every speech, including the speakers, the evaluators, the table topic participants, and the reports at the end of the meeting. All times vary. What I'll do is, since I'm unable to get my split cam to work, I'm going old school. So I have my green. Hopefully that looks green to all of you. My yellow has a pattern to it, so that'll give you a little clue that it's not green, it's yellow. And my red is solid red. I will give an audible signal at the end, something like green, yellow, red, in case you don't pin the video. So that, I don't have anything to smash, so sorry, can't do that. But I will give that audible signal. And of course, at the end of the 30-second deviation, sorry I'm going a little long here, but I'll clap and invite everyone to do so as well. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Lou. Next, we have our grammarian, John Quick. Would you please tell us about your role?
Mr. Toastmaster, as the grammarian, I'll be listening for excellent uses of language and reporting back a brief lesson at the end of the meeting. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. The next is Watcher, and Michael Friedlander is our Watcher. Michael?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters and guests. Tonight I will be honing my observational skills, watching these little boxes on my screen to see what you're doing when you're off the spotlight, when the spotlight's off you, and for the speakers generally watching to see if there are any distracting mannerisms or other things that may have distracted from or enhanced your camera being on focus and your video performance this evening.
Okay, thank you very, very much. And next, our vote counter is Graham. Would you tell us about your role, Graham?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster, my role tonight will be to count the votes. The best speaker, the best evaluator, the best table topic, you get to decide who gets the virtual ribbon today. And you do that by sending me the vote. Please send it privately unless you wish everybody else to see your vote as well. But I would suggest that you just send a message privately to me. I will collate the votes and announce them.
Great, great, great. Thank you very, very much. And finally, our last role is the chat monitor, our illustrious VPE, Adrian. You tell us about your role, Adrian.
Absolutely. It is my job to monitor the chat, and then at the end of the meeting, I will let you know what all the hot topics were, and I will give you a recap. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. We have an exciting lineup today. Our first speaker is Dagmara. She's speaking from the Competent Communications Manual, Research Your Topic. Her title is How to Be More Effective. She will explore the topic of productivity and how some strategies helped her in her personal life, as well as her work to become more effective. Please join me in welcoming Dagmara.
Fellow Toastmasters, do you want to be more effective in your personal life and at work? If yes, I have good news for you, because today I will be talking about 2 strategies that help me greatly in being more effective and having better results. Number 1, it's all about focus. One of my personal guru, Warren Buffett, was once asked by his private jet pilot, Mike, Warren, I want to achieve so many goals in my career, but I don't know how. Can you please give me an advice? And Warren said, Mike, all you need to do is to create a list of 25 the most important goals in your life and career. So Mike did it. And then Warren said, now you are going to circle 5 top goals. Wow, that was difficult for Mike because he already chose 25 most important things, and now he had to circle the 5 most important ones. He thought it well, but he managed to do that. And afterwards, Warren said again, listen up, Mike. Now you are going to do only these 5 most important things that you circled. And you are going to ruthlessly eliminate everything else on the 25 goals list until you achieve these 5 goals. So what Warren Buffett was actually saying is the art of saying no. Steve Jobs said something very similar about focus. Focus is not about saying yes to any great ideas or apparently awesome opportunities. Focusing is about saying no. So this is the first strategy. Let's talk about number 2. Don't multitask. Multitasking is a very, very tricky thing because it's stealing your time. Just let me give you an example. Let's imagine that we have 8-hour workload and we will be doing 1 task during this 8 hours. That's a perfect situation because you can put your undivided attention into this task. How about doing 2 tasks during this 8-hour workload? You might think that, Mara, that's not a problem. I'm going to dedicate 4 hours to one task and 4 hours to another task. But not that fast. You are not taking into calculation the task switching cost. This is what your brain needs to finish one task that is interrupted and start another task. And that's very important because it's been calculated that it takes you around 12 minutes to rebuild the focus, to recalibrate, and to get your high performance that you had in the first task. So can you imagine now that you need to do 10 tasks in 8-hour workload? You are basically going to spend your time on switching from one task to another, one to another. And at the end of the day, you might realize you didn't achieve anything meaningful today. And this is a very interesting concept, which is called in computer science context switching. And it was popularized by Gerald Weinberg around 25 years ago. Context switching cost is exactly this time that we need to recalibrate when we're switching from one task to another. That's why it's so extremely important to not multitask and to stay as long as you can at one single task or at one single project without multitasking. When I heard about this, I was shocked, and I promised to myself never ever to multitask again, because the cost involved in context switching is my time, is my focus.
Brain.
So fellow Toastmasters, it's time to be effective now. All you need to remember is these two simple strategies that I talk about today. The first one is to identify the 5 top goals that you want to achieve in your life and scrap everything else. And the second thing is to stay as long as you can at one task possible without multitasking. Good luck with being effective today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Elaine Nieberding. She's been giving her icebreaker out of the pathways. She's in the dynamic leadership, mastering fundamentals. Her title is Say a Name, Sing a Name. Elaine Nieberding joins us as one of online presenters, newest members, with her first ever icebreaker speech. Say a name or sing a name. She's been known to mix song, smiling, and laughter in her presentations. So get ready. As a holistic nurse, transformational coach for budding leaders and entrepreneurs, and teacher of laughter yoga, mostly she hopes you'll feel her TLC vibe so that you might also T, transmit, L, love, C, courageously. Please join me in welcoming Elaine Nieberding.
Greetings, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, honored guests, and yes, you too, replay viewers. I'm so happy to be here in this club where I have been made to feel most welcome. In the 2 months or so that I've been attending regularly, I really am enjoying the rhythms, the routines, and yes, these most interesting roles that we perform as Toastmasters. Of course, we regularly are saying names for the different members and guests. Sometimes it's no problem. Sometimes it's a little tricky. My name has been known to be a mouthful or something that folks have stumbled on from time to time. So I thought with levity, I'd give you an opportunity to learn and remember my name. Now, I am not a paragon of levity, but I am a lover of levity. Now, let me ask you, Toastmasters, in your time in Toastmasters clubs, raise your hand if you've ever stumbled over a name. Raise your hand if someone has ever stumbled over or forgotten your name. Okay, well, doesn't it feel great when your name is celebrated, enjoyed, spoken with gusto? And just like the theme song for the hit show from, I think it was the 1990s, Cheers, isn't it good to go to a place where everybody knows your name? Okay, So I hope by the end of this, you're going to remember my name. Maybe you'll even sing my name along with me. Now, this club, I love this club. From the convenience of my home, I get to engage with you via the screen. And just the other day, it occurred to me, the very first club that I participated in, I was engaging in with a screen, a black and white TV in my little living room in Chicago in the 1950s. Can you guess what I might have been watching a few afternoons per week? There was a theme song. M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E. Yes, it was the Mickey Mouse Club. And I was so delighted and surprised when my parents came back from a trip to California with a Mouseketeer hat. It was black felt. It, of course, had the large ears, and it had my name embroidered into it. Yes, Elaine also was a Mouseketeer, and I was coming to learn the names of Annette and Doreen and Sharon and Lonnie and Cubby and many of the others. And I especially love that name, Annette Funicello. Well, it was musical, kind of like my last name now, Nieberding, which is kind of musical. Nonetheless, little did I know then that I would use that song to help others learn my name. Now, from 2006 through the end of 2013, I was a bedside hospital nurse. And routinely, I would have to give report to other nurses. They were required. It was a protocol to write down who they received report from. Well, my name being a little long, a little cumbersome, I would make sure to spell it out. And to bring additional levity to the often stressful hospital environment, one day it occurred to me, maybe I could sing my name. Surely they would remember this encounter. Maybe they would laugh. And so I sang something like this. Only I'm changing the words since I'm singing it for you at Toastmasters. Who's the gal who gives a speech with lots of levity? Elaine. Nieberding. Hey there, hi there, ho there. I'm playful as can be. I'm Elaine. Nieberding. Now it's time to end this speech. So I'm timely with brevity. N-I-E, yes, it's easy. B-E-R, are you remembering my name? D-I-N-G. Ding! And I've just sounded my own end of speech tone. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I enjoyed that. And now for our next speech, our last speech this evening, we'll have Lois Margolin speaking from the Dynamic Leadership Mastering Fundamentals, the first speech in the evaluation and feedback. Her title is When We Get Nervous. Lois is providing her second speech in the Dynamic Leadership Level 1 series. We all have instances where our brain goes to lunch when we get nervous. Sit back and enjoy Lois's escapades about what happens when Lois gets nervous. Welcome, Lois Finney.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I didn't know I get nervous until I was 22. I was driving. See, I was the young one in the car, so I got driving detail. And I had 3 other CPAs in the car. We were stopped at a light. It was a big intersection. There were all these motorcycle policemen that were making a left turn. I was going to go straight. I looked at all 8 of them and started wondering, what's going on? I asked the people in my car, did we miss a funeral or something? Why would 8 policemen, all motorcycle cops, be together? Can you imagine? That's really weird. Thinking about it, and when a light with the arrow to turn left, went straight right through the red light. I saw the policeman do this. We made eye contact and he pulled me over. I was very calm. I was driving a 1970 convertible cherry red Mustang. I rolled down my window and the police officer said, "License and registration." I handed them over. And he goes, "Did you see us there?" And that's when it happened. My fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, I became this bumbling idiot who went out to lunch. Of course I saw you there. Who could miss you? There were 8 of you after all. Did I miss a funeral? You know, I read the newspaper all the time, and we make sure that in our office, you see, I'm a CPA, so we make sure in our office that we know what's going on in town. And I couldn't imagine that I missed this important event. So what funeral are you going to, and where are you all going? Because it really got us all nervous, thinking that we might have missed something. And I just kept going and going and going. And he looked at me and he said, "No funeral. Just watch where you're going next time." Handed me back my license and registration and walked away. I just sat there in shock. This is when I'm realizing this is not a good situation for me. About 10 years ago, I was pulling out of my complex and I made a left. And now that I know I get nervous around police, I really try and avoid them as much as possible. I see a policeman all the way down at the end of the street, and he's at a light. And I know if I come up to that light, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to roll right through it because I'm going to be nervous. I decided to be smart. There's a shopping plaza. I'm going to make a right and go right through the shopping plaza, and I'm going to avoid the policeman altogether. Good plan, right? I made my right, and I looked over so proud of myself, and there's the policeman. And I said, "No." And sure enough, he pulls me over. "License and registration." And I hand it to him. And I'm going, "Officer, I didn't do anything wrong. I was going really slow. 25 miles per hour. I think I might have been going 3 miles per hour. He said, "You're going down a one-way street the wrong way." What? Are you kidding me? I have lived here for 10 years. I never knew this was a one-way street. And I had no idea that I was going the wrong way. There is not a sign up there. If there's a sign, I have never seen the sign because I go past this way every day, at least twice. Never seen the sign. There cannot be a sign there. I'm telling you, I would not have turned. I saw you at the light. I purposely did not go to the light to avoid you because I knew if I had gone to the light, I would. Finally, the policeman said, "All right." And he walked back and he looked at the sign. He said, "All right, the sign is faded. I'm going to give you that one." And he walked away. I was like, oh my gosh. Nerves were really kicking in. A few years ago, I was driving down this long road. Speed limit was 35 miles per hour. I'm tooling along, 10 and 2, 35 miles per hour. And a policeman, out of nowhere, comes up behind me, just like this car. Okay, I'll go 40. He went 40. I went 45. He went 45. I'm going 50. I'm going 60. By the time he finally pulls me over, I am doing 85 miles per hour. He rolls up. License and registration. I hand my license and registration, and he asked me such a simple question. "Didn't you see me behind you?" And once again, babbling idiot pops up and goes, "Of course I saw you behind you. How could somebody not see you? Are you kidding me? I kept trying to get away from you. I go 35, you go 35. I go 40, you go 45. I'm so glad you finally stopped me because I didn't know how fast this car could really go." The gentleman looked at me, stared, shook his head, said, "Women," and walked away. My fellow Toastmasters, we all become bumbling idiots at some point. Have you figured out how to handle that? And if you have, would you do me a favor? Email it to me because the next time I see a policeman, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get out of that ticket. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Lois. Lou, have all the speakers been within time?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster, all speakers are within time. And I'm actually a little disappointed that I wasn't able to hold up my wonderfully patterned yellow placard, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Okay, would you please send your votes to the vote counter privately? And who is the vote counter? To Graham, the vote counter. Thank you. Okay. Now we are about to move into the table topics portion where all will have an opportunity to participate for not only without having a speaking role this evening. Our table topics master this evening is Deborah Carr. Let's welcome Deborah, our table topics master.
Thank you. Well, Lois, you took one part of one of my questions, but we have many, many more to go. So, summertime and the the whole thing, the fish are jumping, and it's time to spread your wings and fly. So, Andy Byrne, please tell me, if you could just spread your wings and fly, where would you go?
That's a great question, Madam Topic Master. Where would I fly? Well, unlike the story of Icarus, I'd probably fly further south where it was not as warm as it is right here, because I wouldn't want my wings to melt. I would fly over the water and get those cool breezes. I would avoid hurricanes and other tropical storms because that would really be very damaging to my ability to fly. I think that I would look over the skyscrapers and the landscape and look for some nice, cool places to land. I think I would also look for others that were flying in my direction. Hopefully would.
Oh, sorry.
Can you not hear me? I would hopefully fly with those that can fly with me and see great pictures and scenes and remember them. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you. Oh, there's so many wonderful things that happen in our lives as we're growing up in the summer. Sometimes it's a vacation, and sometimes there's other things, like there's a summer love, and maybe it's while you're on vacation. So Salma, please tell me, or tell all of us really, about a summer love or one of your your favorite vacations.
Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmaster, honored guest. Honestly, I cannot think of a summer love, but I was thinking about the time when I was young. And I remember going out with my brother one time and my cousin, and we were passing by this beautiful house which had a beautiful mango tree. And I remember thinking, oh, it would be so great if I could just go there and grab those mangoes and enjoy it. So I mentioned that to my cousin and my brother. And they told me, okay, go ahead, you can walk and walk home, and we'll see you later. I didn't understand why they were telling me that. So I start walking, and halfway through, I could hear them screaming, running towards me. And I could see the owner of the house running after them. And I had no idea why they were running. I just assumed, well, whatever it is, I don't want to be part of it. So I decided to ignore them and pretended that I didn't know them. And I think they did run pretty fast, and they got home. When I got home, it was very surprising to me that they had brought those mangoes, which I really wanted to have. So I really felt bad that I shouldn't have ignored them. But, you know, that was a safety reason, I guess. So that was one of my memories, which I was thinking about when you mentioned the summertime. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you. One of my favorite things, anytime actually, especially in the summertime, is to go to outdoor concerts. And I've seen the Beach Boys, I've seen Elton John, I've seen many artists at free concerts plus the big time. So Jim and Chris, one of you get to decide if you go to your concerts, who is your artist that you would love to see?
Let's see. No. You.
Okay, are we not muted?
I need to get rid of that. There we are.
Okay.
Oh, we have to unmute. There we are.
Are we unmuted? Okay,
we
you
can
hear me? Madam Topic Master. Yes, summer concerts. If we live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, at least that's where we met and lived for many years. And they have a summer concert in the park program. And I love just going and, bringing your blanket and having a bottle of wine and being on the grass and listening to the concert. And there were several good ones. I don't remember any of them, but we have since been to see Paul Simon at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, and that's a very memorable time. And Simon and Garfunkel here in Fort Lauderdale, and probably my favorite was Bonnie Raitt. I felt like I was in the presence of royalty listening to Bonnie Raitt in the Performing Arts Center here in Fort Lauderdale. Music, summertime, stars. It doesn't get any better than that. Madam Top.
Green.
I'll see Bonnie Raitt and James Taylor next Monday night. So I'm excited about that here in Grand Rapids. Another great thing about summertime is cooking and celebrations and everybody together for graduation or 4th of July or the different celebrations that they have throughout the world. So, Pravin, would you like to take a question?
No, not today.
Not today?
No.
That was a no? Okay, I couldn't hear very well. I'm sorry. John, quick, maybe you have something that you like to cook for a cookout or you enjoy when you're out for the summer months. Well, you always have summer months, but.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I'm still hung up on the summer love question.
We'll switch it to that.
And I shall. Not to bring up yet another paragon of music, but Jay Ferguson had a one-hit wonder 70s song called Thunder Island. Every time I hear that song, I think of a vacation experience I had over 10 years ago, where I had a summer love in Las Vegas with a girl I met on the airplane from my hometown going out there. We ended up in I think we said hello. I borrowed a pen on the plane. And we were never to see each other again. But we arrived in separate taxis at the same hotel that night and realized we should have shared a cab from the airport. Well, we ended up spending our whole vacation together for that trip, which was a really good time. And we had those experiences like we'd show up at the bar in the hotel and they thought we were like engaged or something like that. And we're like, no, we just met a couple hours ago. It was a great experience. Of course, eventually we ended up returning home and lost touch after that. So, Thunder Island, it turned out like that. Random Table Topics Master.
Love it. That was one of the questions too, was about summer love and first kiss. So, what you just said was really better than burgers and brats, to be honest. So, We're at 8. My thing just clicked off. Do we have time for one more, or are we good? One more? Okay. A lot of people go on vacation, and during the summer months, they just take that break either with their kids or without. So Jim Barber, please tell me one of your most infamous or most memorable vacations.
Oh, wow, Madam Topics Master. I don't have children, so I can't comment on taking my kids on a summer vacation. But when I was a kid, oh, I looked forward to the summertime so much, not because of the warm weather, although I enjoyed the warm weather, but because summer was vacation time. Before I went to school, I had no concept of what that meant. Every day was a vacation time, but once I started first grade, I became very aware of how special weekends were, and then, of course, what a phenomenal event the summer vacation was. Our best summer vacations were spent going to Daytona Beach. It's nothing dramatic, nothing spectacular there, but for me, going to the beach, going to not just any beach, Daytona Beach, was the thing that I looked forward to all year long. That was just awesome. And of course, when I moved from Georgia, which is where I grew up, moved to New Jersey, I wasn't happy. We had a beach up there, but it just wasn't the same thing that I was used to. So at my first opportunity, I moved back down south again, ended up in Fort Lauderdale, which is even better than Daytona Beach. And now I'm living the summer vacation all year long. Unfortunately, work has a way of getting in the way of doing my summer vacation, but I'm working on that, and one of these times I'm not going to multitask. I'm going to focus on getting a summer vacation year-round. Looking forward to it. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, everyone. Everybody had a great topic. You know, it was great, and I like how John just kind of took it all and wove it together, and he and Lois were mindful of taking all the information tonight. Thanks.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you for those interesting topics. We're now moving into the evaluation period, and we'll start out with Carol.
Point of order, Mr. Toastmaster.
Sir.
All speakers qualified for voting. All table topics contestants.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Would you send your votes to Graham, please?
One more point of order. Do we vote for guests? I thought guests we do not vote for.
No, they're just for...
I'm happy to accept the votes for guests if you think that the guest was worthy of a vote. I think that's a good way to encourage guests to become members.
Okay, well, vote for everyone, including our guests. Okay, thank you. Now let's start with our evaluations. We'll have Carol. She'll be evaluating Dagmara's speech. Carol?
Thank you, Norman. I appreciate the introduction. Dagmara, it's always a pleasure to hear your speaking. I'm so glad that you joined our club back when you did join our club. Your progress in the Competent Communicator is just plugging along, and you're at number 7. Competent Communicator, which is research your topic. One of the things that I was incredibly impressed with was how you wove your research into your stories, into your speech. It wasn't, hey, cram this into your brain. I just did 3 million hours of research and I'm about to spin it into your head and you better take it. It wasn't like that. It was, I have a story to tell, it's Warren Buffett, and da-da-da. And it was such an easygoing pace, and it was such relevant stories, and those stories were powerful. This is the way to use research your topic and convey your information in a way that's bite-sized and we can take it. So that was very powerful. I applaud you for that. Okay, areas to work on. I want you to continue to work on your body language and your voice during the presentation. You're strong. You used 1, I have 1 point, focus, and 2, don't multitask. Just as a side note, with a multitask, it came on the negative. You might always want to spin it in the positive, which is it's tying in with the stay focused, which is only do one task at a time. So stay positive with that. But these were the only 2 body language pieces that I saw. So I wanted to encourage you to continue to do some changes in your body somehow, some way. You can also move closer to make a strong point or something that's sensitive, and then come away to perhaps do something, another key point. Raise your volume. You can get your message across in a succinct way, or you can soften the tone and smooth it out in a melody. All right, all of these things can enhance your speech a little bit more strongly. Using accents, for example, can you give it a Warren Buffett accent? So Warren's talking to somebody and he's saying, hey, and so go down into the deep voice and convey that story. These are areas that I would suggest continue to develop your storytelling, but the research part you have nailed. So good job, Dagmara. I'm cheering for you. I can't wait for your next speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carol. Our next evaluator is Roger Fung. He'll be evaluating Elaine. Roger?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and thank you, each and every one of you, for listening to Elaine's speech. This was her icebreaker, her very first speech in Toastmaster, very first speech right here in Online Presenter, but I felt like this was her concluding last speech because she's got everything checked off in every box in my head. She's got so much stuff going on that really captured my attention. But the number one thing, I think the most important thing that I got out of her speech was it was focused and purposeful. She had a focus, she had a purpose of telling us about her name, and she drilled it in. Whether she's talking about the story, whether she's talking about music, she just kept coming back. And so by now, I hope I can at least pronounce her name as Nieberding. One quick and small little suggestion, and it's a great contrast of what Carol just mentioned in Dagmara's speech, where she used number as in 2 things I want you to know. First is A, then second is B, so on and so forth. That's probably the only thing, Elaine, that's missing in your speech. But after that, not only were you clear, you start off with a question asking us to raise our hands, got some kinesthetics going on. I've already mentioned you got the music going on, your singing is well prepared, you look poised and confident. You came right out and you kept going. Your hand gestures are all within frame. You've got eye contact, you've got facial expressions. I could go on. And I think your participation into our club not only gives you the opportunity to improve your skills and kick it up even a notch, it's also a great model for each one of us to learn and to grow. So we thank you very much for being here. And as you continue to use the different skills that you have, showcasing what you could do with different kinds of projects, I look forward to how you would sing or participate or adding kinesthetic, adding all these things that you've already showed off in your next few speeches. So thank you, Elaine, and thank you, Norman. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you. And finally, our last evaluator is Jim Barber. He will be evaluating Lois. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. My fellow Toastmasters, our most welcome guest this evening, and especially DTM Lois Margolin. This was Lois's icebreaker in the dynamic leadership path. It was obviously not Lois's first Toastmasters speech. Wow. I am hesitant. I don't even know really where to begin with the things that I liked about it. Lois, you opened with a story, and I'm in love with doing that. You just didn't waste any time. You went into a story, told us about something that happened at age 22. You captured us then, and you held on to it. You held our attention for the rest of the time. You have an engaging smile. When you smile, everybody else smiles. Normally, I watch somebody in the big screen thing, so I'm looking at the speaker. But in your case, I wanted to see what the audience was doing, and so I clicked back to the gallery view, and I was looking at everybody else, and they were enjoying themselves so much. I've never seen so many people laughing so much at one time. That was incredible. You used voices in conversation. You weren't just pulled over by a policeman. We could picture the policeman because you used his voice when you were pulled over. You yourself, you talked fast when you got nervous. You didn't just say, I got nervous. You started talking very much faster, and it was really impossible to follow. I was amazed that you were able to do that. It was impressive. But the best thing about that you have going for you is your body language. I love the way that you twirled your fingers when the police car pulled you over. Oh, that's right. Your eyes widened. What, I was speeding? Oh, my goodness. Oh, you looked at the camera. Oh, you leaned. Oh, I liked this. When you were confiding to us in your speech, you leaned in close to the camera. You came in close so that we felt that we were a part of what you were doing. Lois, you are a paragon of Toastmastering, and I am really struggling to make a suggestion, but I do have one. This is controversial, and a lot of people may disagree, but it's just my opinion. Headphones are, I'm sure, acoustically preferred to earbuds. They're probably much better, but to me, I find them distracting. I'm not sitting having a conversation with you when you have earphones on, and I would really like to see you lose the earphones and go for earbuds instead. Again, I'm not sure that that's valid, but it's my opinion. I turned it to red, strictly doing that for lose point. That's the end of it. Lois, this was a fabulous speech. Thank you very much. Mr. Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Lou, how are our evaluators in terms of time?
Mr. Toastmaster, all evaluations qualified for voting. Mr. Toastmaster.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Would you sing your votes for best evaluator to Graham? Okay. And now I'd like to introduce our general evaluator. Jim, would you please take over and give your evaluation of the meeting?
Point of order, I think we're supposed to call in the functionaries first, the grammarian and the watcher.
Okay. Can we have the report for the odd counter? Andy?
Absolutely. I'm just unblocking my voice here. Thank you very much, Norman. I appreciate calling on me. As a whole, the club did really well, but we do have a number of identified infractions. Jim had a couple of ums. Norman had a couple of ums and a start over. Elaine had a so. Jim Barber, you had 4 ands and a start over. Roger had 1 double clutch. Lois had 1 start over. And Selma had 1 Deborah had 1 start over. Otherwise, everybody did fantastically. You were all paragons of Toastmastering.
Okay, thank you, Andy. And now can we have the timers report from Lou?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster, all of the times for every segment are posted in the chat box.
Thank you very, very much. Mr. Quick, can we have the grammarian's report?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster. We had excellent usage of the word of the day today, paragon. Really made the rounds. Lots of paragons mentioned of the stage and screen, most notably Bonnie Raitt. Also, Icarus used in an analogy to explain a table topics. Our speakers did a lot of fancy word usage done well. Some examples: bumbling idiot, levity, gusto, context switching, focus, and multitasking. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, John. And now can we have the watchers report from Michael?
Sure. Thank you, everyone. Overall, you all did a great job with your non-distracting backgrounds, and the lighting levels overall were terrific. And thank you, everyone, for participating by raising your hand for Elaine. I was watching that. And those of you with green screens, very creative background, and especially Lois, you used your background as a prop for your speech. Excellent. Carol, has your cat paid his or her dues? I'm wondering. I saw a little... and Elizabeth, a shout out to you for a very colorful, enjoyable background. Mentioning what I thought the featured speakers did well on camera. Dagmara, you kept your gestures in the view, and the diplomas on your wall enhance your authority. Elaine, your facial expressions came through loud and clear, and you really have a captivating presence on video. And Lois, again, the prop background, you're very animated and lots of fun to watch. All the evaluators had very strong visual presences. All your gestures were in view, which I'm seeing that with the microphone I have, it's really hard not to bang my microphone with my hands. And if you're using a laptop or have your camera on your desk, watch the low point of view. Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very, very much. And now, Adrian, could you give us the chat monitors report?
Yes, of course. There was conversation about the training workshops for undistrict clubs. There is not currently a training that we have to do. You will have to go through your district, but you will, however, need to document your attendance and report that evidence back to your club. The club also loved the topic productivity. They thought the speeches were fun, very creative, and they loved the eye contact, and that's something we can all practice on. Otherwise, they did a very good job. They thought the speeches were very organized and excellent timing. So congrats, everyone. And Lois was especially proud of the two mentees that she has, that they both spoke today, and she's their mentor. So thank you, everyone. Back to you, Mr.
Thank you very, very much. And finally, Graham, can you give us the results of the voting?
Yes, I can, Mr. Toastmaster. The best evaluator vote went by a narrow margin to Jim B. Congratulations, Jim, on the best evaluation. The best table topic, John Quick has a lay-down misère on this one, I have to tell you. The number of votes John recorded is one of the highest I've ever seen. And for the first time ever, we have a tie, not for first and second, but for first, second, and third for the three speakers. So the speaker who didn't vote for themselves, you might have won if you had, but congratulations that all three speakers received an equal number of votes. So congratulations to you all. I will be sending out the certificates to everybody via email when I've had a chance to create them. It's not something you can do and just sign it and hand it over in this sort of meeting. So expect a certificate in your email later today. Mr. Toastmaster, I yield control.
Thank you very, very much. And now, for our general evaluator, Mr. Dent.
Okay, thank you, Norm. I'm going to make this quick. I think everybody did a great job today. We started on time. We're going to run a few minutes late, but it's not going to be very late. I want to make a comment on the evaluators. They were all excellent evaluations. But I have to say one stood out as a paragon. And what I felt stood out was Roger. The reason I felt he stood out was he did an excellent job of using his own hand gestures up in the screen area and not down low where they were hard to see. He did all his hand gestures up high. So from that viewpoint of using hand gestures during an evaluation, to me, Roger represented a true paragon. And I know I don't get credit for that. So at this time, too, I'd like to ask our guests what they thought of our meeting. So first, I'd like to ask Elizabeth, what did you think of our meeting today?
I loved it. Oh, it's enjoyable to me, so thank you so much for letting me participate.
Thank you. Well, you're definitely invited back, and if you want to join the club, you can definitely join. You can do that from the website or contact our who's our VPM now? And we'll get in touch with you. Lois, yeah.
Still me?
Okay, and Pravin, did I pronounce that correct?
Yeah, thank you so much. Like, I really enjoyed, and it was really wonderful, like knowing everyone and hearing the speeches. And I really enjoyed. Thank you, Louis. Like, I told Louis, like, I joined on Sunday thinking like the class was at 6 a.m. in the morning. But she told me about it's on Monday every week. I completely enjoyed all the speeches. It was great, and I love Lois' speech and Alien. I hope I'm taking the name in a correct way. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I definitely hope to see both of you again next week. We're going to have our contest next week.
This is my first time I'm speaking someone on the camera.
Well done.
Okay, and the last thing I just wanted to add was, let's see, where's he at? Michael Friedland, you're the chief judge for next week, correct?
I am.
For our contest, or are you? You're on the agenda as the chief judge. I just wanted to. Are you aware of that?
No. Okay.
Oh.
I guess I need to. Next week, I actually next week, yes. Next Monday, I have a local Toastmasters meeting. I should have. I'll need to put those on the calendar. I apologize.
Okay. No, that's okay. We'll need to get that corrected, and because all I was going to do is ask you if you were prepared with judges. So we'll have to work on that this week.
Jim Barber is our contest master for next week. And since Michael cannot be there, will anybody here like to take up that spot as our chief judge?
Not everybody at once.
Or we'll double up and have Jim do everything.
Yeah.
all of a sudden, everybody speaks up.
What is it that you would be looking for?
We need a main coordinator, a chief judge to coordinate all the judging that's needed for the contest. If anyone's interested, go ahead and sign up on the website or speak to Jim Barber directly, as he is the contest master. Then you can coordinate and things like that.
What is the focus of the contest? Is there a specific, is it like the...
Jim, you want to speak on that, Jim Barber?
It's basically a repeat of the contest that we had about 2 months ago on webinars. And we have several contestants signed up. They will present a slightly longer speech, 6 to 8 minutes, I believe, as a webinar in the webinar format.
Thank you. Who do we have so far listed?
Okay, that's all I've got. And this week we'll try to get some chief judge and judges lined up. Lois has something to say.
I do. There was a confusion. Selma's still on the line. Selma, I have an email from you that you paid online, and then I heard you say you were a guest. Are you a guest or are you a member?
No, I'm a member.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you responded that you were a guest. So, yay, then I didn't want to insult you by not asking you about the meeting. I got confused. Thank you. Well, welcome. Selma is our newest member. Michael,
Thank
you
you.
don't claim that anymore. I'm sorry.
Lois, do we have to vote her in?
I think that would be Jimmy's responsibility, or, you know.
What's that?
Let's see. If I
to
remember
vote in.
correctly, are you a Toastmaster already? You were a Toastmaster?
I am. I have been a Toastmaster. I was writing my pathway, my icebreaker, and somebody mentioned, this is your third icebreaker. How many times are you going to do that? And yeah, I've been a member, as far as I can remember, it was 1997 was the first time. And then I think in the portfolio, if you check my Toastmaster, it says 2003.
Yes, I remembered something like that. So Andy, it has been agreed that when we have someone who's an experienced Toastmaster, it's the executive board's vote that does that. We don't have to take it to the group. We do that when it's somebody that doesn't have the experience behind them.
Okay.
Well, I guess I shouldn't be nervous then now.
Nah, you're in.
All right.
Congratulations.
As the creatures in Toy Story say, one of us, one of us, one of us.
And Pravin, I will get back to you.
Okay, anybody else have anything to say?
Guess we should stop the recording, Mr.